twice about taking people on. This is tending to be a theme now. Well, it was one of the most talked about announcements in the budget because it's been in the news for months, and that is VAT going on private school fees from January. But one local head teacher in Boston says her parents are not loaded.
The idea of taxing those with the deepest pockets. Well, come and look at our car park at night. You won't see loads of Range Rovers, Porsches, and that sort of thing in the car park. You won't see parents in business suits. Our parents are hard-working parents, the workers, as Rachel Reeves calls them. They don't have the extra.
Well, the local MP, Sir David Davis, who represents Pocklington and Goole, went on social media platform X to attack the policy on private schools, calling it a vindictive piece of class warfare by Labour, which will hurt parents who scrimp and save to pay school fees. So, David, the government say that VAT on private school fees will raise money for education so that every child gets the best start in life. I mean, surely you welcome that, don't you?
Well, no, because I think it's vindictive. But before I say this, look, there are other big issues in this budget, that affect factory workers, farmers, industry, homeowners, and so on. So this isn't the top of the tree. But the thing here I wanted to see changed was when they brought it in. They're going to bring it in January. And why can't they wait until the beginning of the next school year? So parents who have to change, the ones who can least afford private schooling, are able to make arrangements to move their children elsewhere. That's the big thing, really.
Most people don't send their children to private school. They'll be watching the TV tonight saying they can afford to pay. If the average school fee is £17,000 a year and it's going to be 20 in future, they probably, if they can afford 17, they can afford 20.
Some will, but the ones I'm worrying about here are the ones who are, don't take holidays, don't have a new car in order to scrape together enough money to get their children into a private school. I've seen these people and met them when I've gone and spoken at private schools. And those are the ones I worry about, not the ones who can afford it, and there will be plenty of those, but those who can't afford it and will need to make a decision about taking their children out of the school.
Interestingly,
now,
the Institute for Fiscal Studies doesn't think it will lead to a drop in pupils going to private school.
Well, we'll see. I mean, what it'll probably lead to is the closure of some of the smaller private schools and more foreign students going to the middle to big ones, the best ones, I guess. You go to somewhere like Eton or some smart private school in London, you'll find a fair number of foreign students there. But the point here is I wanted something which we could change. Look, the Tory party's not got the votes to overturn big parts of this government, sadly. But even a Labour MP, Rachel Maskell in York, very bravely, I thought, said much the same as I did. It won't cost a fortune to introduce this in September rather than January. That's the key point here.
So it's flippant to say, people watching, as somebody wrote to me a couple of weeks back, if they cut back on avocado and quinoa, that they'll be able to afford the school fees.
Well, maybe that's true for the richest, but there are people, as I said, who scrimp and save. I met one last week, actually, as it turned out, who scrimp and save to send their kids to a private school. They're going to have to make a decision. Let's make that decision easier for them. It won't be everybody. It'll be a few, but it'll be important.
And it's just class warfare, is it really?
I think it is a bit vindictive, frankly. I don't think they'll raise the money.
Vindictive, that's a strong word, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, because I don't think they'll raise the money they're talking about. Okay. And of course, some of the children will be transferring into their state schools, so therefore causing them to spend more money. But the hard truth is, if they're going to do it, it won't cost a fortune to do it in a way which is decent.
Very, very interesting to talk about, though. So, Dave, good to have you on the programme tonight. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Wish you well. Well, the